Hey, welcome to Game Talk, the show where we talk about games. I'm Max.
And I'm Kaila. And today we're going to be talking about the newest addition to Dungeons & Dragons, which is this over here, Fizban's Treasury of Dragons.
This book is a compendium of all kinds of resources for folks who want to enhance the dragoniness of their game. It's got lore, monster stat blocks,
New subclasses for the Monk and the Ranger, and tons of new little
role-playing tips and ways for your DM to control dragons more believably and more funly.
also new cool spells and magic items.
So pretty much every aspect of the game is represented here and made more dragony.
Yes.
What was your favorite thing, or what's the thing you're most excited about in there?
Some of the magic items are really cool in here. There's one in particular, the golden canary thing. It's like a wondrous, legendary item, super dope. I don't want to spoil it too much, but it basically has a lot of really cool uses. Also the gem dragons, I really like those. Those are so pretty to look at. The artist props to them, you know, the artwork on this is just phenomenal.
Yeah, and I think it's cool that there's now a whole new third category of dragon in the gem dragons. You know, so you had the chromatic dragons, which are evil, and the metallic dragons, which are good. And now there's a whole third branch of that tree. That's the gem dragons that are neutral.
Mm-hmm. The topaz dragon is probably my favorite. Of course, you know, I'm playing necromancer in my in our campaign, so the fact that there is a necromantic themed gem dragon, that's really cool.
Yeah, I think that's neat. And then also, speaking of weird necromancer stuff with dragons, there's the Dragonbone Golem, which is just literally just like a dragon skeleton tied together with rope and animated.
I'll show it on my screen. This guy over here, it's literally thrown together with like rope and stuff and maybe a little bit of magic. Love that.
So I like that they give you all kinds of different monsters. Of course, that's like the whole back third of the book is monster stat blocks and monster lore.
The bestiary.
Yeah. So there's new types of dragons. There's a new age category for dragons. So instead of stopping at ancient, now beyond ancient, there's Great Worm, which is like, so if an ancient dragon is too weak for your party, you can throw a Great Worm at them. There's avatars for both gods, so Bahamut and Tiamat. And there's also dragon-like monsters, like dragonels. They're like kind of like drakes from Dark Souls, you know. And there's sea serpents, you know, dragon-adjacent creatures. But the whole first 2/3 of the book isn't even about combat. It's like personality and psychology and tables for dragon personality traits and tables for dragon quirks, you know, like this dragon likes to do this weird thing and
right.
You know, really letting you flesh out your dragons as characters.
Good role-playing tips too.
Yeah. And I think that's really important in D&D that, you know, it's so kind of reductionist and it just sort of falls flat when a DM just throws a dragon out there and it's just like, oh, it's a big lizard that breathes fire.
Yeah, and sometimes it flies.
Yeah. I love that they're characters. You know, they have a personality, they have wants, and those wants are complex. It's not like a lion has a personality and wants.
Right.
It's mean, it wants to eat.
Yeah.
But, you know, a dragon is a person. And a really intelligent person, so they have these complex ideas.
Right, yeah.
And I like that this book makes it easier to create those.
Definitely.
But it's not just for DMs, it has a lot of player options too, right?
Yeah, like some new Dragonborn races. Well, not races, but you know.
So, yeah, sub-races.
Ancestries, I guess. There is, let's see. They have in here the chromatic dragonborn, the gem dragonborn, and also the metallic dragonborn ancestry options, which is really cool too. They all kind of have their own little special things when they reach like 5th level. Like the gem dragon, for example, can basically sprout wings and fly for like a minute. That's really cool.
Which I think that's something that all Dragonborn players are disappointed to find out. They're like,
right.
When do I get to fly? I don't?
Yeah. Play a gem dragon and you'll be able to actually do that. They're also telepathic, which is what, you know, I'm really leaning into the gem dragons over
dragons are
here.
neat, yeah.
They're really cool. The chromatic ones, they give you the chromatic warding, which is basically like you become immune to the damage type associated with your chromatic ancestry, which then you pick depending on what kind of chromatic dragon you are part of. The metallic dragons have this repulsion breath. So it's kind of like a cone AoE. They have to make a strength saving throw or be pushed and knocked prone. It's really cool.
Yeah, yeah. I like how they, because even in the player's handbook, they had your Dragonborn get kind of different abilities based on the color of dragon you were descended from, but it was really minor. It was just the shape and damage type of your breath weapon and the damage type that you have resistance to. So if you're descended from a red dragon, you breathe fire in a cone. Does the same damage as everybody else, every other Dragonborn's breath weapon, but it's a cone and it's fire, and you have resistance to fire damage.
Yeah, there's not much difference.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of
them.
variety.
It's basically just flavor at that point. Like, oh, I like the color blue. I'm gonna be a blue dragon.
Exactly. Yeah. Or like I wanted my Dragonborn character to be from the forest, so I made him be descended from a green dragon.
Right. Yeah.
But it didn't really.
It didn't affect anything gameplay
game.
wise.
So I like that they've given you some more specialization. They made different ancestries of Dragonborns feel different, and it feels like 3 true sub-races now, instead of, whereas the Dragonborn, you know, technically the Dragonborn in the player's handbook has more sub-races than any other race, because they have, 10? But they all feel the same. They just breathe a different type of damage.
Right, yeah. And this also gives a lot of ideas for how to further homebrew those other Dragonborns as well. You know, give them, you know, their own little homebrew options, like maybe the trickery thing, like your ancestor gave you the power to, I don't know, maybe shapeshift or something, which would be kind of a cool little homebrew idea.
Yeah.
Or having like really good charisma, being able to sweet talk and charm and stuff. It just adds, I think, a little bit more ideas to further fix the more vanilla Dragonborn.
And I think anything that plants the seeds in players' minds or in DM's minds for more of their own ideas is a good thing.
Yes.
They also give you each species of dragon. We're not talking about Dragonborn anymore. We're talking about full-blooded dragons. Gets their own like 2 or 3 page section of a chapter. Sometimes some of them are even like 4 pages, and they've got tables and everything. So it's got, you know, personality traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws, just like a player character. I was looking over Kaila's shoulder just now, and there's adventure hooks. There's a whole table of adventure hooks for this specific species of dragon might, you know, this might be their scheme that would get players involved in trying to slay that dragon.
Rather than just, here's a dragon.
Yeah.
Have fun.
There's a cave with a dragon in it. The village is pissed about that. Go. Yeah, I really like what they're doing. Oh, there's player subclasses too.
There are, a couple of new subclasses.
The monk.
And the ranger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the monk gets the Way of the Ascendant Dragon, which that one, I didn't really read.
I didn't really read them either, honestly, because none of them were warlock. So.
But the ranger gets the Drake Warden, which I think is pretty neat, because it's sort of like a souped up version of the Beastmaster Ranger, but instead of having a creature with the beast subtype, they get a dragon.
A Drake companion.
Yeah, Drake companion.
That's so cool. It's got its own little stat block and everything.
Yeah, and its stats scale with your level. So, you know, gone are the days of like where your direwolf companion is worthless after you hit level 2, you know?
Oh, yeah. You know what? The monk's kind of cool too. Yeah, Way of the Ascendant Dragon. They can fly.
Everybody can fly these days.
They can fly. That's so unfair.
At 6th level, they can fly.
They can fly. They get the breath of a dragon. So they're basically Dragonborn without looking like a Dragonborn.
Yeah.
Frightful Presence. Oh, yeah, look at that.
That's cool. So they get a bunch of like dragon monster features.
Yeah, augment breath.
Oh,
they can use breath weapons.
That's cool. Plus, they get all the martial arts stuff that standard monks
Yeah, as
get.
if monks weren't already pretty beat ass.
Yeah.
Give them dragon powers
Flurry
and
of blows
stuff.
and then breathe fire. That's cool. I also really like how they gave you a sample map for each type of dragon's lair. So that's 15 different maps in here because there's now 15 different, with the gem dragons, there's 15 different kinds of dragons. So it gives you, for one, for the lazy or rushed DM, you can just take that page and just boom, there's the dragon lair. But for two, if you want to customize, and especially if you want to customize the lair, and I think especially if your party is going into the lairs of multiple different dragons, it gives you a feel for how this species of dragon typically designs their lair, and so the different lairs will feel different from one another. And it kind of it gives you a taste of like blue dragon architecture or gold dragon architecture or whatever. I like that a lot.
I think that's really cool too, because even though I'm not like a big map maker or like realm designer or anything like that, it kind of gives you another option besides just like Skyrim cookie cutter style, where this dungeon is called a different name, but it's basically the same as this dungeon over here, except maybe one or two things are a little bit different.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So it's really cool. And then, like you said, you can further expand on it. You can edit it in any way, of course, because it's your freedom to do so.
And and if you have that, you kind of have that style sheet to work from. Like this, but I'm gonna change this. It'll still be in the style, in that that alien style that makes it clear. Like humans didn't build this, a dragon did.
Right. Yeah. I think it also could play a little bit off of the dragon's personality too. Like you can probably forego the tables, and if you really like the maps and the architecture that they put in there for these dragon lairs, you can use that to define the dragon's personality instead.
Yeah, like a black dragon lair, I'm guessing almost every black dragon lair is going to have a torture chamber because black dragons are sadistic, and you can gather that just from looking at the map, and you can see, they devoted a whole room in their house to torturing people.
Yep.
They probably like hurting people.
Yep.
There's new spells too.
Yes.
So there's new spells for the dragons to use, but also player characters can learn some of these new spells as well. So I think that's neat. I've always liked the idea of dragons as spellcasters. So in addition to the things they can naturally do, like fly and breathe damaging breath. Oh, go ahead.
No, sorry. A good example I just found is Draconic Transformation. You can basically turn yourself into a dragon, not like full on it looks like, but you take on draconic features. You gain the following benefits. So there's like blind sight, breath weapon, wings, you can fly again. And this book is all about making their players fly.
Yeah. So you basically just make yourself into a half dragon for up to 1 minute.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Which is pretty cool.
Rather than just poof, I'm a dragon. You kind of take on the features of a dragon and have some of the dragon's abilities and powers. That's really neat.
Yeah, and it's a cool kind of midpoint between when you're lower level and you can't do any of that, and then when you have 9th level spells and you can just cast True Polymorph and just literally be any creature. So you can just say, I'm an ancient gold dragon now. Poof. There's a cool halfway point, so you can kind of scale up to that. Nether's Mischief, I don't even know what it has to do with dragons, but it just is a really good kind of fey chaos type of spell that really gives you some of that chaotic Joker flavor to your illusion spell that distracts enemies. And I like even one of the material components is a piece of crust from an apple pie. And you have to roll on a table, and there's different effects. One of them is the smell of apple pie fills the air, and each creature in the cube must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or become charmed by you until the start of your next turn.
It's very apple pie flavored.
Yeah.
Heavy on the apple pie there.
There's one that makes bouquets of flower come all around, and that blinds you.
Wow.
There's one that makes you giggle uncontrollably, so it's basically Tasha's, but in an area of effect. And there's one that puts molasses on the ground to make the ground difficult terrain.
That's pretty fun. That's really fun.
Yeah, so it's not all edgy, high adventure, like dragon slaying. Cool. There's some silliness in here too, which I like. Also, let's talk about the art. I really like the art in this book. And one thing, if you are a true Wizards of the Coast nerd like us, one thing you will notice is that a lot of the art in this book also showed up on cards from the Magic the Gathering set, Dungeons and Dragons, Adventures in the Forgotten Realms. And it's not like inspired by it. It's like they took the picture from the card and put it in the book. And I really like that. It's a cool little nod.
Yeah,
that's one.
Yeah, because the art was already really cool to see on the cards. And you get to basically see them again off of this book. Like, where's good old Bahamut, where they put him in Magic as the Planeswalker.
Yeah, the Grand Master of Flowers.
Minion of the Mighty. He's in there too.
One of the best one-drops in the history of Magic.
Sure.
I mean, if you're using dragons, I guess.
Yeah, if you're using dragons.
If you're not, it's pretty worthless. But regular art Tiamat card. So the Tiamat card, the regular art and the full art version are both in this book, which I didn't know until just now.
There she is. Was that?
Maybe from the full art. I don't know. I haven't seen the full art Old Gnawbone.
Well, I'm going to show you guys Gnawbone anyway because
Yeah,
it's super cool. Probably can't see it very well. Maybe we can get a full art picture
I'll
of
get
it
a
or
picture,
something.
a photo of it later.
Because she's really cool looking. She's sitting there all majestic, and she's got like a person hanging from her mouth.
Yeah. I like how she has her wing like almost held like a cape, like Dracula's cape or something.
Yes, very majestic looking.
Really cool.
I love it.
And then there's just a dead leg hanging from her mouth.
Yeah. It even says here too, commonly known as Old Gnawbone.
Oh, good luck.
Yeah, I can't say that. Is often seen with a mangled corpse hanging from her mouth.
Which I guess would be why they call her that.
Yep.
Claugiliamatar.
Claugiliamatar. Claugiliamatar.
Claugiliamatar.
Gotta.
Claugiliamatar.
Okay.
I don't know where the emphasis goes.
I don't.
Old Gnawbone.
Maybe the C is silent.
Claugiliamatar.
No.
Yeah, that's like Welsh or something.
I don't know what that is.
How do you say that?
Someone took a cat at Wizards of the Coast
keyboard.
and put it on the keyboard and let it walk around. That's how they got that.
That's how you write Draconic, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep, get a cat.
Oh, they give a bunch of lore into like the dragon's creation myth, and you learn more about Bahamut and Tiamat, and you also learn about a third dragon god named Sardior, who's the god of the gem dragons. So I think that's neat. The whole book, so you know, each one of these books in the fictional universe is written by one of the D&D fictional characters, like Volo's Guide to Monsters is written by Volo. This book, Fizban's Treasury of Dragons, is written by, you guessed it, Fizban, who is one of the disguises that Bahamut wears on Earth, I think. So
Yeah.
It's a book all about dragons written by Bahamut, which is pretty cool.
Fizban, everybody. Arguing with an inanimate statue.
So yeah, Bahamut, you know, being one, a dragon, but two, a literal god, he's a very intelligent, wise, calculating being, but he likes to, for whatever reason, take on the disguise of this senile, doddering old man.
He plays dress up.
For fun, I guess, yeah. Throw the bad guys off his scent, I don't know, but yeah, I like that they chose Fizban to be the author of this book.
I mean, if I was an ancient dragon god, I probably would get bored every now and then and go come up with some shenanigans and stuff, like dressing up as a doddering old man who argues with inanimate objects.
Here's a nice quote from him. "Home is where the horde is."
Yep.
Spoken like a true dragon. Oh, cool. There's more. So in the monster manual, there's regional effects for dragons' lairs, and that expounds upon that here. There's more detail about how the weather and the terrain might change around a dragon's lair.
More lair actions too.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so they can recharge their breath faster. A lot of stuff to make dragons harder to fight. Which
But as if they weren't already hard.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was a problem in D&D. The dragons were like not hard enough to fight, but I guess not. Because a lot of these, they're putting in ways to make them more difficult.
Oh, speaking of difficult, we have to talk about the Elder Brain Dragon.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So
we
that's
have to talk about
one of the scariest monsters in here.
It shouldn't exist.
Is they literally just took two really scary, powerful monsters and mashed them together. It's literally called. Here, you want to show it off?
The Elder Brain Dragon.
And it's just what it sounds like. It's just an elder brain attached to the back of a dragon. And instead of having a breath weapon, it just vomits mind flayer tadpoles in a pressurized stream. It's horrifying. It's this eldritch Lovecraftian abomination. It's this dragon with this giant tumor on its back.
Yeah.
And presumably the elder brain is underneath this tumorous growth. And it has nerves coming out and going along the outside of the dragon's neck to attach to its head. I'm guessing where the elder brain is controlling the dragon's brain.
It's got a challenge rating of 22.
So pretty much the only thing about elder brains that made them a surmountable obstacle is that they can't move. They're confined to however big the pool they live in is, that's it. That's the only place they can be. They can't leave that pool. Till you put one on the back of a dragon, and then it can go literally anywhere because it can fly.
My God.
So yeah, that's horrifying, and it kind of makes me wish that I hadn't done the Mind Flayer arc of my campaign so early before this book existed, because they just fought a boring regular Elder Brain, and they could have fought an Elder Brain dragon.
I'm glad we did it. Legendary actions. It's got legendary actions. So tentacle, it can make a tentacle attack.
A dragon with tentacle attack.
It can just straight up shatter concentration.
Dragon targets a creature it is grappling. Targets concentration on a spell it is cast. And just concentration just ends, and you take damage.
And you take a lot of damage.
No saving throw or anything. It's just like, hey, I don't like that spell, so stop it.
Yeah, 3d12 of psychic damage.
Yeah, this is a pretty strong boss. And it's a cool, I think it's a cool change to two different pretty iconic D&D bosses, which are dragons and elder brains. It's a cool fusion of those two.
It's a siege monster too, look at that. As if it moving around wasn't bad enough.
Oh, it deals double damage to buildings.
So hiding inside's not an option. This is really cool. I'm not usually like one that is into dragons and I mean, I like dragons. I think they're very pretty and cool looking and stuff, but they've always just been big, dumb lizards with wings that breathe fire and were just hoarded gold and their little mountains and stuff. I think the first time my eyes were ever opened to the possibility of dragons actually having some form of intelligence is when I saw one of the Hobbit movies.
Oh, the one with Benedict's
Smaug.
Cumberbombs as
Yeah,
Smaug.
I mean, it's already great that Benedict played Smaug because I love Benedict, but I mean, yeah, he's got that voice, man. And he played Smaug, and it was just, I was like, wow, this dragon talks, it speaks, it thinks highly of itself. I'm like, this is cool.
Yeah.
This is not what I ever imagined dragons being like, and there's just so much more flavor for that here. They're not just big dumb lizards with wings anymore.
Yeah, and that's something I've always loved about D&D is that they take dragons and they make them people, a big, scary, fearsome people, but a people.
Yeah.
But one thing that's hard is you want to play up this alienness and this fact that, you know, they live 1,000 years, so any dragon that you're liable to be talking to that lives by itself, it's probably been alive a really long time and has this huge amount of wisdom and these weird personality quirks. And I, a mere human, am going to play it like a human. And so anything that gives me help to play up the dragoniness, you know, to make it feel more like this elder being, you know.
Right, yeah. Something that actually looks down on humans and even in some cases probably despises them.
And has weird personality quirks that like you don't necessarily understand why this dragon is like this, you know, because their personality is more complex and older than yours. So I guess much like your dog doesn't understand why you leave the house for 8 hours every day.
Right.
You probably aren't going to understand why these dragons do these weird things. And so it's cool that they do the heavy lifting. Wizards does the heavy lifting for you.
Gives you a lot to work from.
Yeah. Makes it easier for just simple mortal human DMs like us to play these godlike beings.
Imagine putting like one of these dragons in Curse of Strahd.
Oh my god.
Make you guys fight an elder brain dragon.
Oh
you had your chance.
I was thinking about already, like, oh, when I show her this book, is she going to then take dragons from it and put them in Curse of Strahd?
As if it wasn't already hard.
Like, whatever you do, don't send any comments to our video or our Facebook page or anything explaining to Kaila what a Draco Lich is.
I mean, I could just read the book.
She doesn't know about them yet.
I mean, to be honest, I probably would have homebrewed something like that anyway. Yeah. Like, how can I make a dragon more dead and scary?
Yeah, and I like that they have the Dragonbone Golem in here because I like scaled down versions of really powerful monsters. So the Draco Lich is really cool. It's a dragon that's become a lich. That's in the monster manual. That's been part of D&D for years and years. But it's also really hard. That's going to be like the end boss of your campaign. So I like that if you have the idea like, oh, I want my players to fight a dragon skeleton, you know, an undead dragon thing. Now there's a weaker version of that, so you could have it more towards the end of the campaign, but not at the end. Because I'm sure it's still, let's see I bet it's still super strong.
It also looks like something that my character in his campaign would totally put together.
Absolutely.
Because she's already, trying to create custom monstrosities out of bones and stuff. So the fact that there is like a manual over here basically on how to duct tape together some skeleton of a dragon and bring it back to life.
I'm fully expecting
she's going to try to do that.
a Dragonborn or a Dragonbone Golem becoming a friendly NPC in this campaign. But it's only
friendly.
challenge 11. So
only challenge 11.
Well, compared to a Draco Lich, it's like challenge 28, you know.
Yeah.
It's much more accessible to lower level parties. Like I think with you three at 8th level and your slew of sidekicks and just how good you guys are at destroying my encounters, you could probably fight one of these right now today and probably beat it.
Probably befriend it?
Maybe. I mean, it is an unaligned construct with intelligence of 3, so that's sometimes to get around how good these guys are at just charismaing their way out of everything. I have to just throw dumb monsters at them. Like, you think, like, oh, the smart monster is going to be harder because it can think and strategize and stuff. But no, because then they just talk their way out of it, or they offer it some kind of bribe or deal, and they make friends with it, or mind control it or something. But, so I'm like, okay, well, guess what? Good luck beating this gelatinous cube with your brain, because it is not capable of thinking. It smells food and eats it. Oh, I like, the dragon blood ooze, that's cool.
It looks gross.
Yeah. Oh, all oozes do. But I like that. I don't know why, I like oozes a lot, and I feel like there's not enough different flavors of them.
Something we can't corrupt.
So that, so that when they come out with more new different flavors of ooze, that's cool. Because most oozes are kind of a one-trick pony, you know? Or it's a one-time thing, right? Like you put a gelatinous cube in the party's path, they don't know what it is. They're like, why is this room so clean? Why is there a shield just sitting in the middle of the floor? Oh, because it was a gelatinous cube. And then now forever, they know what gelatinous cubes are. You can't trick them again.
This ooze has a breath attack.
Yeah, it's made out of dragon blood.
It breathes ooze.
And I like that idea too, that I like what they're going for, that dragons are so inherently powerful. Every cell in their body is so destructive and arcane and powerful that pieces of dragons are their own monsters.
I think it actually even goes off on dragon's blood in here somewhere too, about how like it's, both toxic and also extremely sought after and very valuable.
Yeah, that one makes sense. And I think that's cool. Because it makes dragons feel more like these godlike, powerful entities when it's like not even a whole dragon, just its bones tied together with zip ties, or a gallon of its blood or whatever.
It's flavor on some artwork, but it says a dragon's blood can be as powerful as it is toxic.
Oh yeah,
and there's this
lady doing a ritual with a bowl of dragon's blood.
Right, yeah, and then there's another piece of artwork where some miners in a cave discovered an amethyst dragon's egg, and they're like getting ready to mine it and stuff, and it's very pretty artwork. I love the color scheme of it, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I have yet to see a D&D book, especially from 5th edition, where the artwork didn't really wow me, but this stands out among that, like it meets that high bar and exceeds it. This stands out among all the other D&D books. I really like the art in this book a lot.
Yeah, really, again, props to the artist, because it's not just cookie cutter, your classic dragons and stuff. They all have little bits of their own personality and some little frills and trinkets and other things to kind of further customize them, which is really great, rather than just, here's a dragon, it's a different color than this dragon. Here, its horns are a little bit different shaped.
Yeah, and not just from species to species, because that's something they've been doing for a while in D&D. Like black dragons have horns that go like this, and blue dragons have the rhino horn like this. But from individual to individual. So there's like pictures of 2 different blue dragons in here, and you can tell them apart. Like you could, if they were in a lineup next to each other, you could tell that they're not the same dude, which I think is cool, because that plays more into the dragons are people, and individual people can be picked out from one another.
Right, yeah, like here's a good example, because even though these are all, for intents and purposes, the same kind of dragon, they all have their own different personalities reflected in basically their style, which is really neat.
And they're wearing jewelry and stuff, It's a good reminder that dragons have a society.
Yeah, some of them are thinner, some of them are fatter, chunkier, like there's a lot of variation, and I like it, even though they're all pretty much the same dragon, right?
This dude has tattoos.
Yeah,
it looks like.
Isn't that dope?
Which, like, okay.
Made of gold, of course.
If a dragon has tattoos, I'm scared of the dragon. If a dragon doesn't have tattoos, I'm scared of the dragon. If he does, I'm scared of the dragon. He's like, oh, this dragon looks tough. He's got tattoos. Maybe he was in like the Dragon Navy. But you know who I'm really scared of is that tattoo artist.
Yeah.
Because he has a tattoo machine that can pierce dragon scales.
Right. And of course, it's in gold. That's great.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to be a dragon and chump out and get tattoos with black ink.
No, definitely. Gotta go for the shiny.
Yeah, and I like this. This one has earrings and a necklace. This one has a necklace made out of, I don't know.
They look like
tusks. Yeah, like elephant tusks or something.
Yeah, I really like how this one is. I like the little end caps on the wings and stuff. Kind of like it's wearing bracelets and jewelry.
Yeah.
It's lovely.
It's really cool, yeah. And, how to name your dragon? That's something that I struggle with a lot, is coming up with names for dragons or draconic places. Basically, coming up with names in draconic is hard, because draconic is supposed to be hard to pronounce, to make it seem like alien, but then... Yeah. But then if you get too hard to pronounce, then your players will never remember what the heck a thing is called. You're like, it's the tomb of Rafshan Goravalgoch. And they're like, yeah, remember that tomb we went to that time?
Yeah. To be fair, we've also renamed a couple of things in your campaign.
Yeah.
Just because.
I like this very cute little baby dragon.
It's a really cool book. Again, this is someone who's probably not so into dragons and someone who's probably super into dragons.
Honestly, I like them a lot, but I'm sort of tepid on them because I feel like it's in the name of the game. So when you play D&D, you're expecting to see dragons.
Right, yeah.
And so I one of my favorite things as a DM is that moment, when like you see something that you never heard of before, like when you guys first saw the elder brain, and you're like, what is that? It's a 10-foot long brain in a jar, like. And you don't get that from dragons as much. Right. So I'm honestly, as much as I'm crowing about dragons, I'm kind of tepid on them as a DM, but this sort of reinvigorates my zest for them.
Because it's, again, not just a big dumb lizard you throw at your players. It's got shape and personality, and That's great.
Yeah, yeah. I like the idea of a dragon in your campaign as a character that maybe the party never fights. You know, even if it's an evil dragon, even if it's a malevolent character, they might never fight that character. It might just be sort of an obstacle they have to deal with, like a, you know, an evil prince. You know, maybe it's an evil dragon that rules this land, and you got to pay all these pain in the butt taxes or follow all these dumb rules because if you don't, the consequence is, oh, we're gonna have to fight this dragon.
Yeah, yeah.
And we don't want to.
Like the Sultan.
Yeah.
One of the rulers of one of the places he came up with is a dragon, of course. So we can't just go and assassinate the king because he's a big ass dragon.
Yeah, yeah. It's an ancient blue dragon, and they're at the time I think you guys were like 5th level. Now they're 8th level, still too weak. So
yeah, no, we still can't.
he's one of the few nobles that they kind of just have to do what he says.
Mm-hmm. Who also might be in on it with Bobby.
Yeah, we don't know. I mean, I know, but you don't, and neither do they. So that's it for our review on Fizban's Treasury of Dragons. It's a really neat book. It's got a little bit of something for everybody. Mm-hmm. At least I'm really excited to be able to work pieces of this into my campaign. I think, can we expect to see stuff in your campaign too from this?
Probably, yeah.
Thanks again, you guys, for watching and tuning in on our little review over here of this super neat newest addition to Dungeons & Dragons. Feel free to check out our other videos and stuff. We've got some other cool reviews and whatnot. We've got Van Richten's Guide, which was really fun to do as well. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, and don't forget, you can, if you like this kind of content and you want to be part of the discussion, part of the game talk, if you will, we're on Facebook. We have a Facebook group. You can check it out at the link. There's a link in the description if you're watching it on YouTube. The URL's printed at the bottom of the screen, or if you're watching it on your TV, you can scan the QR code right over there, and it will take you right to Huike's YouTube channel. Huike is not just about gaming. We do a lot of gaming content, but they have all kinds of different content related to the island of Kauai. It's for and by people from Kauai like us. Mm-hmm. So check us out on cable channel 54. Check us out on YouTube. Check out Game Talk specifically on Facebook if you want. And yeah, log on there. Send us a message. Send us a comment. Vote in the polls. We do we do little polls every week just to see kind of what our viewers like about gaming and don't like about gaming. So hopefully we can keep putting out entertaining videos for you guys and not put out stuff that only we care about.
Yeah. And again, this huge thanks to Huike, because this whole thing also wouldn't be possible without Huike and their equipment and their space that they have to work with as well. Really great, and really appreciate you guys.
Yeah, so thanks a lot, Huike, and thanks to you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Bye.